What a draw, what a match. Who says if stalemates aren't interesting? Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers have ensured South Africa had an entire day in a test match where Virat Kohli will remember very fondly. Moni Morkel won't with that sprained ankle of his. Ishant Sharma did something in that game. Vernon Philander did something in that game. Ooh, what a test match we have had. Two massive partnerships, a pitch that played its part, and a game that Hashim Amla will never forget. And in the end, well, who says nobody's won? Cricket definitely has. The number of times a team has scored more than 400 in the fourth innings and ended up not winning the test match. Just the 15th occasion in the rich history of test match cricket. You can hear the little soundtrack of The Great Escape as it's playing. But who is The Great Escape for? Who's had The Great Escape? I'm not going to talk much. I'm going to tell you this. The match between India and South Africa, the first test at Joburg, has been drawn in the highest drama that you'd find that test cricket and only test cricket offers. No more from me for a little while. Sanjay Manjrekar, Daryll Cullinan, it's all yours. React to the end of the game.
You know, we see exciting T20 matches and 50 overs matches. An exciting test match just stays in the memory for long. You know, people don't sit in front of the television and watch every moment of the test match, but now I'm telling you, this test match will be talked about for a long, long time. T20, 50 overs cricket, out of your system very quickly, not test match cricket.
Daryll, who really has had a great escape today?
Whoever has and who has not, to use one of the oldest cliches in cricket, cricket's been the winner. It's been compelling viewing. We've had just about everything, and fitting justice to arguably the two best sides in test cricket at the moment.
Yeah, I think emotionally, if you think about it, I think it's a result that people will like. You know, I'm sure there'll be some people thinking, you know, somebody should have taken the initiative to get a result other than a draw. But I think in the end, it was a bit of a David and Goliath kind of a situation, isn't it? So I'm very proud of the David in the contest.
Okay, now that's exactly what our guests are talking about. Some people thought, could somebody else have done something more? Let's show you what they actually did in this cricket match. Oh, it's India 280 on the first day, of course, after winning the toss. Virat Kohli with a memorable 100, Philander with 4. South Africa came out 244. This is the time where Ishant Sharma took Jacques Kallis and Hashim Amla in back-to-back deliveries. In the third innings, what a third innings for India. 421. Pujara and Kohli sharing a double century partnership stand, while Philander getting to 100 test wickets. And in the fourth innings, South Africa, well, 450 for 7. Faf du Plessis batting almost an entire day's cricket. AB de Villiers with 100. Shami with 3 for India. The match is drawn. Okay, Sanjay, let's get straight into that point that I was talking about before we showed you the summary. Some people might think teams could have done things differently. We saw from the reaction of the Johannesburg crowd that they couldn't understand what South Africa were doing. We'll come to South Africa with Daryll. With India in that last session, could they have done something differently?
I think just talking of the dying moments, you know, when Faf was out there and he played that wonderful pull shot and it was 16 runs to win. After that, Dhoni is thinking all that hard work is going to go to waste, so he was just thinking of avoiding defeat at the time. So although there was that temptation of just 3 wickets, you know, to pick at the time, that margin was too narrow for him to go for wickets. Couple of streaky shots and suddenly, you know, the match is gone, 7-8 runs to win. So I can understand Dhoni being a little cautious. Perhaps the South Africans could have taken the initiative. There's one moment earlier where I felt when they needed about 56 runs to win and Dumini came into bat. Perhaps at that time a safer option could have been to send somebody who could just maybe throw the bat around. So then after that, if that doesn't work, you've got at least 2 batsmen like Philander and Dumini to take South Africa to safety. But harsh to judge, you know, in that kind of situation. But I'll say this, that maybe South Africa is more obliged to take the initiative in the kind of situation that we had.
Daryll, you concur?
Probably, but let's also look at the fact that it's a 2-match series. So neither side wants to lose that, and particularly South Africa don't want to lose the series with it being at home. So you lose the first one, the second one. It's not as if you got another chance at it. And I certainly think Graham Smith wouldn't want it on his CV that he lost to India at home. The other thing too is you just don't give a test match away. It's not a benefit match. Test match wins in this sort of situation, a draw, priceless. some may say, well, had South Africa lost, it wouldn't have affected their world rankings. But ultimately, down the line, you just don't want to own up to or having to admit that you've lost a test series at home. So I think amidst all the emotions, I think that would have been one of the overriding thoughts that Graham Smith would have had. And you can't hold it against him, not at all.
All right.
Test match wins and Test match losses hurt, so there is a big prize at stake. It was just one of those interesting situations. Very rarely you have that kind of a situation where it's obvious who has to take the initiative. How it was poised after Faf du Plessis went. I think as long as Faf was there, South Africa was on course. They're playing so smartly, defending, and just reminding Dhoni with one flourish that they still wanted to win the match. But once he was gone, South Africa's confidence of winning the match got really dented.
I think the South Africans would, if they look back on the match afterwards now and reflect on it over the next couple of days, I think the point which has been made, they may ask themselves, could we? Sanjay said, could we have pushed harder? There was a time and moment with de Villiers and Faf du Plessis at the crease where you almost sense that, come on guys, what about it here? Just a little flurry here. And they didn't look as if they were in any trouble. They were just simply batting normally, waiting for the bad ball, with India attacking was going to be coming along their way. But there was never, you sensed, a moment of urgency where they really had a considered, right, both of them, we're going to push and see where we go. And I think there was, Sanjay, where they could have taken the chance to say, right, let's try and win it here and set it beyond doubt come the last hour of the match.
Oh, well, as our guests are telling you, Faf du Plessis was the man that could have tilted this game in any other direction, but like our guests have also said, it's a two-match series. Nobody wants to lose the first one. Now, Faf du Plessis was your main man if you're a South African today. 134 and 309. Looking at where he scored his runs, it'll never tell you the perseverance he showed when he didn't score runs, which was equally important. Sanjay, Daryll, all yours. Take us through Faf's innings today and how important it was.
Had South Africa won, it would have ranked as one of the greater test innings played. Purely, you can argue that the bowling experience, combined bowling experience, wasn't that great of the Indians, but the kind of pressure that he was facing, and I slightly disagree with Daryll that they didn't take the initiative in that partnership, because all along, as if AB had survived that without actually taking an initiative, and Faf du Plessis stayed at the time when he got run out, I think South Africa would have gone on to win the game, So I thought they paced it properly. But coming back to Faf du Plessis, I think one of the what could have been a great test innings often gets dictated by the result, But brilliant, absolutely brilliant stuff with the bat.
Yeah. Daryll, there was some pressure Faf du Plessis was facing as he came into this one. How much more special does this make it?
Well, he would say that he's bought himself a lot of time going forward. That's his record of late, and yes, he is definitely under pressure. There are certain selection issues facing South Africa come the Durban Test match, but he's proved that he is a man for the big occasion. But what people must also remember, that in this pressure, in this situation, it also defines how you have to play, survive, and it has a simplicity to it. And it was clear that's all he had to do. It fell in nicely with playing a long innings that he needed to play to, yes, buy himself time and to once again remind us. His debut produced a similar 100. He would have no doubt have drawn on that achievement to give him all the strength today. But a magnificent innings. The brilliance that he showed with de Villiers. It's a day of cricket which I think few will not forget.
Sanjay?
And the interesting thing in that partnership was, when they were together, there was just one point agenda: survival. And they were in that phase, in that mindset for a long time. But because they played so well and that partnership kept going, and suddenly we were looking at a South African win, they also realized now they have to start looking at a probable win. So that mindset change, you could see that it was starting to come, where the batsmen felt that now they've got to look for those runs to win the game, and it was not just about survival. I think there AB de Villiers was the man temperamentally suited to get into that gear of winning in that partnership. Faf maybe not so much. So that wicket also was crucial, that inside edge that got AB out, because he then was in command, because then he's in a situation which he knows well about winning matches and chasing targets.
Yeah, well, it's going to be such a difficult game result for a lot of people to digest. I think once everyone slept a little while, they'll realize that there were phases in both games, in that instance, that anyone could have lost that test match. Both teams could have lost that test match. Let's talk a little about what played a crucial role. The third team in this test match, that was the team of the pitch, and it did extraordinary things. Hashim Amla will never forget this pitch for a long time to come. Daryll, the way this pitch is played, I mean, we've spoken about it time and time again. It went through 2 sessions in the morning doing very little. All of a sudden, Shami made it do something in the evening. What do you sum up with this pitch, and also tell us a little about how different it will be to Durban?
Well, I think it kind of baffled all of us. We anticipated the pitch deteriorating. Probably the players talked it up in the media. We're watching from a distance. I did mention that there have been occasions where it has kind of settled down, and if we look back on the day, it did. But saying that, the Indian bowlers didn't quite have the same sort of zip. But you have to conclude that this pitch did play a lot better today, and it was tough work. Tough work for 3 seamers. And in the end, I think South Africa will be grateful that, in fact, the pitch did settle down. Compared to Durban, well, it's anybody's guess at this stage. Generally, Durban offers you a slowish but a good sort of bounce. If they leave a bit of grass in it, there can be a bit of pace on that pitch. But everyone would admit that come Durban, to probably suit India more. But the way they played in this test match, on a fast and bouncy pitch, if not quite that, but we thought it would pose their biggest challenge. So I don't think it's a question of saying that pitch is going to suit one side. I think it'll be very good for both.
Well, the combination was something that we were talking about. You were talking about India possibly and should have played 4 bowlers. I'm going to get Sanjay's thoughts in on the spinner element that the Indian team had on display today.
Just before that, if I can
Sanjay,
just bring out the pitch, issue.
Please.
When you look at the match summary, I mean, this is a pitch that's taken everyone by surprise. I mean, when you look at the scores, pitches are supposed to deteriorate in South Africa. That's what we are told. If you see something like this in India, you can understand. First innings 280, 244. And then in the last inning, the teams got the most runs on the board. Yeah. So it's taken the captains by surprise. It's taken the bowlers by surprise. If you're wondering why Zaheer Khan was over-bowled or bowled so much, it was because, Mahendra Singh Dhoni was hoping that something would come out of that pitch in response to Zaheer Khan, bowling round the wicket, hitting the deck. So yes, the pitch surprised a lot of people, but hats off, to the surface and the curator, because we've got a test match that we can keep talking for a long time.
Yeah, you could see those numbers there. That's probably the other way around it'll go in India. You'll have 450, 420, 280 and then 244 bundled out. But this was a freak test match if you look at the summary and the scores. Sanjay, on that note, since you did bring up the point on the way Zaheer Khan was used by MS Dhoni, especially in that last session, few critiques, we saw it coming on social media as well, whether he missed a trick by not bowling Shami more. You felt as well Shami would be the kind of bowler who would get most out of this pitch. Can we point out a particular moment in that final session where MS Dhoni could have done something differently?
There's bound to be tactical errors in a match like this, and I thought everyone could see that for a long time Shami wasn't called in to bowl about 35 overs in that innings where Shami didn't bowl. The one thing I could say that perhaps he was, as I said, he was trying to get something out of the pitch. So he was trying Ishant Sharma, Zaheer Khan, guys who hit the deck, and he was hoping for one of those balls to explode and give him a wicket. But you saw the moment Mohammad Shami came in, he got batsmen to come forward and drive and push, and JP Duminy was the wicket that he picked up. So I thought Zaheer Khan in the end, because he was hoping something from the surface, got slightly overbowled, and Mohammad Shami underbowled, I thought.
Okay.
Well, I think, we were quite critical of Graham Smith lacking a bit of imagination and looking at other ways to get wickets. And I think the same, in my opinion, should be said of Dhoni today. Perhaps relying or believing that the pitch would create the wickets for India, and there should have been at some stage where he should have taken perhaps a gamble, looked at different options. For me, it's inexplicable that Zaheer Khan, as good as he is, never bowled a ball over the wicket. It may have been 1 or 2 in his first over or so, and the short ball attack and variation, bowlers constantly changing ends, and that's something for him to look back at. But I want to come back to the issue of 3 seamers, and I made the point before the test match that I've seen it so often. The touring sides have come with the danger, the talk of the wondrous pitch, the South African bowling attack. They're going a bowler light, to just boost the batting a bit. And you could say, fine, Dhoni would have thought, well, how are his batsmen going to play? They're young, they're inexperienced. He certainly doesn't want to run into a situation where they run into trouble in that regard. But you can't plug a weakness. You've got to be brave. They played brave cricket, a wholehearted performance. But I'm sorry to say, Mr. Dhoni, you weren't brave in your selection. You've got to say we need 20 wickets. He had 4 bowlers, he had a spinner, but this is where I thought he wasn't smart. History will tell you at the Wanderers, the spinners have never really played a role. They've never won a match there. Now, to ask 3 seamers to on a pitch that got better, to share that workload, I think was a huge, huge ask. And for my money, it was said before the first ball was bowled. If India look back on this test match, I believe that they had 4 seamers. You throw in a Yadav, I believe they would have won the test match.
Okay, that's interesting. Sanjay, today was the day South Africa really showed why they are the best team in the world, or on rankings at least. Was the experience between the two teams finally going to be the difference? The fact that the Indian bowlers, they had a good first innings, but that lack of experience, did it show a little today?
I think Kepler Wessels summed it up nice in commentary where he said, India dominated the 4 days of the test match, but South Africa showed on day 5 why they are highly regarded as a test match team. Because when you look at the experience, you've got to go back right at the start of the test match and look at the experience of the two teams. Yeah. India on the left, there, and especially with the batting unit. Shikhar Dhawan 3 matches, Cheteshwar Pujara 15, Rohit Sharma 2, Rahane 1. Even in the bowling, Mohammad Shami 2, and there's Ashwin who's also on overseas pitches hasn't bowled as much. And in comparison, 636 the combined experience of South Africa, and playing at home. So this is a brilliant performance. It's ended in a draw for India, but this is a match that Indian cricket can be proud of because of the kind of fight that they've given. So it's finally come down to the last day, South Africa showing their class as the #1 team in the world by showing that they had 2 batsmen of the kind that we saw, Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers.
Yeah, with all that experience, I think South Africa have got more questions to answer coming out of this test match than India. For 4 days, India were the better side. South Africa were chasing the game. And for me, looking at both sides, India cared more. It was more of a heartfelt performance. They played as a better side. South Africa they didn't win it as a team today. It was the brilliance, in my opinion, of 2 individuals.
Absolutely.
That almost got them over the line. Callis comes to mind. What are they going to do with Callis? He bowled 6 overs, can't bat. Bowled 100 overs, 124 overs for the year. Is he going to play as a batsman? Can they genuinely pick him as an all-rounder? Morkel's injury, where does it take them then? They had a mini collapse in the first innings when they batted. So that didn't quite work out together. And then we have, rumours of all these off-the-field stuff that's happening at the moment. So they have to regroup and really get their act together and may find themselves come Durban, because I think they can't believe that Durban's a win for them. Just pitch up. They thought this one perhaps was. Perhaps India can also feel that same way, but I think neither side can really say, well, we were definitely the better side, although India can probably for 4 days. So come Durban, it's a whole new match, it's a new start, and the series still up for grabs.
Yeah, well, that's good. When neither side can say they're the better side, it makes for delightful viewing, didn't it? We were enjoying ourselves watching it. Okay, I'm going to throw a rapid fire to both of you. Let's get this done crisp and quickly. We'll do a little post-mortem of the entire game. Firstly, the big moments. What can you look back at this first test match and say, this was a big moment? Sanjay, you first.
For me, Ishant Sharma, when he got Hashim Amla and Jacques Kallis out in successive balls, I think that really got India back into this test match, because they didn't get enough runs on the board, showed a spirited batting performance, but Ishant Sharma, the man with the long hair, there he is, 2 balls, and this is selection as well. Who would have had Ishant Sharma in this playing 11? Dhoni did.
Okay, Daryll,
there it is.
The big moment for you in this match?
Du Plessis walking to the wicket. Kallis's reluctance to bat was one man's loss is another man's gain. He put his hand up, and it's been a career-changing move. And it was good to see him play so well. Okay. Good performance by Sharma there. He was all heart. I'm very impressed with him.
All right. I'm going to go with 2 run-outs. That made the most fun for me. I mean, Rahane hitting the stumps to get Smith out. I'm getting another one towards the end.
One of the advantages of having youth in the team.
Absolutely. Yeah, you need someone like that a bit off. I tell you what, you need someone like that to get run-outs for you. But anyway, moving on. Who takes what from this test? Very quickly as we go into Durban, it's just a 3-day turnover time. Sanjay, what do India take?
India take a lot of confidence from this test match, and depending on the pitch, if there's something there, roughness for the spinners, I think spinners didn't show up for India, and had they had some more support from Ashwin, India would have perhaps won this game.
Daryll, what does South Africa take from this test match ahead?
Well, they've got a lot to think about. Let's be honest about that. Do they take confidence? In some ways, yes, but they've got, I think, a lot of issues to sort out amongst their side. India, they take 3 very tired bowlers.
And one of them's injured as well. All right. The captaincy comparison. Quickly, how do you rate Smith and Dhoni? Just a quick word on their assessment and crucial points in this game.
Yeah, a couple of, I think, errors in captaincy. Mohammad Shami left out in the cold for a while on the final day when it mattered. Until then, his captaincy was flawless, I thought. And Zair Khan not tried over the wicket. I can understand the logic why he was bowling around the wicket, but he should have been tried over the wicket, at least, just to see how it goes. Graham Smith is slightly disappointed with his captaincy.
Smithy?
I agree. I think Dhoni was ahead of Smith. Smith will have a lot of thinking to do. I think he's had a lot on his mind. But thankfully, he's got a few runs. He looks good. And he's a fighter. He's a tough man. Takes a lot of pride in his performance. And I'm sure will rally his troops and come out with a much better performance in Durban.
Okay, casualties for the next test match. Let's hear this one selection-wise. I know conditions will play a part, but casualties for the next test? Anyone from India?
Depends on the pitch. And as I said, if there's something for the spinners there, I think they'll retain the same side because Ashwin comes with a great track record.
Okay.
Hard to look at.
No scope of Jadeja in place of Ashwin if he plays a spinner.
No, if there is something in the pitch there, Ashwin will make more of a mark than Jadeja, and maybe today on day 5 on that kind of a pitch, Jadeja would have been useful, getting a couple, maybe to shoot and bounce. Who knows? Okay,
Daryll, Moni Morkel, if he isn't fit enough, how would you like to see the South African change? Imran Tahir should be safe about his place.
Well, Morkel, the talk is that there's a local lad, Carl Abbott, who's from that part of the world, had a good debut in Test cricket. Should they draft him in, he's not part of the squad. Kleinveld is in the squad. McLaren is another option. He brings a batting component to the side. Peterson, Robin Peterson from a spinning option. But I do feel, I think South Africa will go the all-pace attack. Come Durban, leave a bit in the pitch. And the other issue is now the push is for maybe De Villiers to be relieved of the gloves and just concentrate on his batting, which will mean that Tami Tsolakile will come in. So they've got a lot to think about over the next 3 days.
All right. And lastly, I love talking about this one point. How's the umpiring been in this test? They're going to be the same pair of umpires for the next one. We've not mentioned them throughout the test match, which is pretty much testament to good umpiring in cricket. But quick word on Rob Tucker and Steve Davis.
5 days of test match cricket and just one error from Tucker with that inside edge. Apart from that, the focus was on cricket, and that's how it should be. And when the focus is on cricket and not on the umpiring, we are on the right track.
You go with that one, Daryll? Daryll, I'm calling. Yeah, Daryll. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think they had a superb match, and Sanjay's right. It's lovely to have umpires who just in the background going about doing their things and letting the players get on with it. But the other thing to add to that is the spirit, the way the game was played. It was played in a wonderful spirit.
All right, good stuff. Steve Davis will have a good night out after this, doesn't he? You know
Spirit.
the of the night.
That's a nice word.
Beautiful. Yes. As will Daryll Cullinan tonight. I assure you he will. Okay, we're going to take a question now from a fan. Let's quickly see what that is. Samuel Zito, is Faf du Plessis Test Cricket's man of steel? Daryll Cullinan, is he?
He's shown it twice, but I'd be more concerned about what's happening in between that. There's still a lot of bit of work to do there, but my word, come a crisis, he's a man for the occasion.
All right, so Faf has definitely done enough. Closing comments, good test match. Looking forward to the next one, Sanjay?
Absolutely. Yeah. This is the wonderful thing that happens when there is a contest between two teams, contest between bat and ball.
And Daryll?
I wish if the question to us why we haven't got 3, we know why, but it'd be great to have 3. But man of the match, we haven't. I go for Kohli.
There we go, Daryll.
Kohli, I'm sure you're going to agree.
Because it's finished in a draw, you've got to give it to a man who got 190 in this test match.
Virat Kohli, what do you think?
Yeah, Virat Kohli. A first innings 100 under the pressure that he was.
What about AB de Villiers' all-round performance with the ball as well?
No. Not enough. In Test cricket, you value your first innings 100. That's the ultimate.
All right, good stuff. Thank you very much to Daryll Cullinan and Sanjay Manjrekar. Let's quickly show you how this dramatic first Test match between South Africa and India has ended on day 5. 450 for 7. A nice little Dale Steyn 6 to make the scorecard look even nicer in the years to come. Faf du Plessis and AB de Villiers with hundreds. Mohammad Shami bowled well. The match in the end is drawn in Johannesburg. So that's all that we've got for you. We hope you've enjoyed us giving you match point. I hope you've enjoyed watching Match Point as much as we've enjoyed getting it to you. We will be back for the second test match with Daryll, Cullinan, with Sanjay, Manjrekar. Merry Christmas, gentlemen. We hope you have a lovely few days and enjoy the festive season, all of you. We will see you in pre-game before the second test match in Durban on Boxing Day. Until then, on behalf of all of us here at ESPNcricinfo and Match Point, Merry Christmas and goodbye.